Hey guys, welcome to the third part of the Norma Jean Review Series. This time we're going to be taking a look at their album Redeemer. Now, Redeemer is my favorite Norma Jean album. It's probably one of my favorite albums of all time. I know a lot of, like I said, older Norma Jean fans will go back to Oh God, the Aftermath as what they feel is their best work. I think it's right here in Redeemer, and there's a lot of reasons for that, so I'm going to try to take it piece by piece. So first of all, the production on this album is great. It's definitely a huge step up from their first two albums, where kind of a lot of things got lost in the background. Vocals in particular came off a little bit muddled, low res sounding, almost as if you're listening to kind of like a low bit rate song, no matter what you were actually listening to, even if it was right off the CD itself. This album kind of gets rid of all that. It's polished, it's clean, and yet at the same time it still has that rough and raw feeling that made their first two albums sound the way they did, and the positive aspects of it. This is definitely better produced. Everything sounds like it has its place. Nothing gets overpowered or lost beneath anything else. The vocals are very clear. You can actually understand them a lot better than the previous albums, which kind of leads me to my next point. So also in this album, the vocals are improved a lot. I did praise Corey Brandon in Oh God, the Aftermath for kind of being a lot better in terms of control over his voice, and being able to go between these harsh screams and these more melodic screams and these slightly melodic parts. And here there's a lot more of that. It's expanded much more to a point where there are some actual clean vocals in this to a degree. I wouldn't exactly call them clean, but they're definitely a lot softer and less harsh than anything they've done before. And, it comes off a lot catchier. These are songs that you could see being on a more mainstream kind of I want to say radio play. It's not really poppy enough for radio play, but something you'd probably see more mainstream audiences listen to versus Oh God, the Aftermath and Bless the Martyr and Kiss the Child, which were kind of just a little too harsh for anybody, I would say. Really hard to get into. Redeemer is a lot easier to in that aspect. The vocal work especially kind of lends to that. He said it's a lot more. It's expanded times in terms of the harmonies and the melodies that Corey Brandon can do, and just his control over his voice on this album is just amazing. The drumming on this album is just top notch and just mind blowing at times. Daniel Davison, I've repeated many times, I feel he is one of the best drummers of all time, and I would have to say, while Oh God, the Aftermath has that kind of like fast pace, how is he doing this? Redeemer has that, but to a degree of, like I said, it sounds it's catchy. There's easy to, you're not going to follow his drumming. You're not, if you're trying to tap your fingers along with the drumming, unless you're a drummer yourself, probably not going to be able to match what he's doing. But you could still kind of get that overview of his drummings. If that makes any sense to you guys. And I kind of love that. It's a lot easier to kind of follow along with this album. These songs are a lot catchier, and I think that's my biggest draw to this album is the drumming on this. And like I said, Daniel Davison is just phenomenal on this album. I also feel like this album has one of the best ending tracks of all time. The song No Passenger, No Parasite, it's just starts off so slow, kind of haunting. All you hear is like this clicking metronome type, then the drums kick in, you have Corey Brandon just wake up, and then it just leads into something. You hear like this, almost sounds like a hospital heartbeat monitor in it, and then it just explodes at the end, and it's just such a long song, but it's good that it's long because the build up to it is just so perfect. And it ends the album on such a great note. It starts off with, a grand scene for a color film, which is just this like extremely fast-paced, mess of a song, and I don't mean mess as a bad term. I mean, that's why the song is so good. It's just so much just happening at once, hitting you, and then it ends with this song, which is just more slower, mellower, harsh, kind of oppressive in a way. Haunting is the best way to describe it. So it's a very kind of haunting song. And it sticks with you after the album ends, and it's such a great way to just go out with this album. It works just so well. I mean, this is why I think Redeemer is the best Norma Jean album, and why I think it's one of the best albums of all time, because everything they do just works, comes together in just this package, and just all these little things you just like about it, that I want to praise. Like I said, the drumming, the vocal work, the guitar work, the ending song, the opening track, this song, that song. It's metal, but it's hardcore, it's mathcore, it's melodic, it's catchy, it's everything thrown into this one package. And then on top of that, all of that could be ruined by just poor production quality, and the production quality on this is just fantastic. All works so well in this one package. And then like I said, Oh God, the Aftermath is known for its artwork, and I think Redeemer's artwork is actually even better. It's just this painting of a bird just biting this girl's hand. And honestly, that's what brought me to this album. That's what caught my attention, when I was searching for music to listen to, and I saw this album. That's honestly what caught my attention and kind of got me started listening to Norma Jean in the first place. I mean, this was my first album that I bought from them. This was the first album I listened to from them, and this is why I love this album so much. Everything about it, just works. It's everything. There's not one part of this album that just falls flat or fails to live up to the rest of it. It just all comes together, and it really is that good of an album, where I think anybody remotely interested in this type of music should go out and listen to it. Hey guys, that was part 3 of the Norma Jean Review Series. I appreciate you guys watching and taking a look at it. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at Verse the Anti-Mother. You can check out the rest of the review series. The links are down in the section, as well as our website. So please check us out. Let us know what you think.